Second chance opportunity, Clark.
When I'm playing, so you got to still be that consistent voice when I'm sitting on the bench. So I try to do that as much as I can for them.
Billboards show the logo threes. Memes replay the smirk after a 35-footer. Highlights loop her chirping veteran defenders. The surface data screams flash. Yet every coach who scouts Caitlain Clark comes back saying the opposite. She's a metronome disguised as a flamethrower. Her lifestyle, the uninstagrammable parts, is an operating system built for relentless control, not attention, and it started long before she became the Nike athlete with the richest shoe packed in women's hoops history. Clark's childhood home in West Des Moines was a competitive laboratory. Dad Brent played 3 college sports. Older brother Blake walked on as a Division I quarterback. Younger brother Colin learned early that family game night could turn into the Hunger Games. One basement one-on-one ended with Caitlain shoving Colin into a cinderblock corner. "Split my head open." For Staples, he told reporters, half laughing now that the scar is a punchline. School wasn't calmer. Clark admits, "I got kicked out of PE class quite a bit. I was so competitive." The lesson inside each skirmish was consistent. Pressure isn't the villain, it's the venue. By middle school, she was still running with boys' AAU teams, a full 2 years longer than most talented girls in Iowa. "If you want minutes, hold your own," she said later, a mantra that now explains why veteran pros can elbow her on Wednesday and watch her drop 29 on Friday. Most players watch tape because the coach assigns it. Clark presses play because her brain refuses to relax until the pattern is solved. She has studied Maya Moore's pivot foot discipline, Sue Bird's skip passes, Chris Paul's pocket dribble tempo, and Steve Nash's sprint and survey head turns. Her Indiana apartment lights click on at 5 a.m. By 5:07, she's scrubbing through Synergy clips, pausing on a weak side stunt she knows Seattle will flash in 3 weeks. Result? In only her second pro season, she ranks second in the WNBA in assists, 8.8, while still top 2 in scoring efficiency among high-usage guards. That isn't swagger, it's recall. She saw the rotation last night on the MacBook, so the pass at 8:19 p.m. feels like déjà vu. If the logo shots are her highlight reel, the recovery menu is Midwest mundane. Tunnel photos catch her in frayed sweatshirts because, unlike many modern stars, she lives 5 miles from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The weather decides her fit. Post-game dinner is often spicy vodka pasta or broccoli beef cooked by Clark herself, the would-be chef who laughs that the only TV show she'd pitch would be How to Win and Still Bake Brownies. Night routines involve 1,000-piece jigsaws, Disney comfort movies, and a phone flipped to Do Not Disturb, habits she described at All-Star Weekend while promoting women's mental health screening. The quiet isn't branding, it's bandwidth management. Where others trade sleep for streams, Clark treats 8 hours as a non-negotiable rep. That bandwidth shows when the league tries to rattle her. Since debut night, defenders have delivered veteran welcome bumps. TV slows the elbow, social media screams foul, and the narrative paints her as hunted. The spreadsheet says otherwise. Despite extra traps and the nightly ESPN camera rig, Clark sits top 2 in both points created and direct assists per 36, a combo the league hasn't seen since prime Diana Taurasi. Each hit is adrenaline. Every arena is full. Half of all WNBA games this year are sellouts, a 156% jump year over year, and veteran guard Ty Harris put it best. "You play Caitlain, you're on national TV, so everybody brings smoke." Clark's response is mathematic. She doesn't clap back on X, she counts possessions. Elbow at 5:42, step back triple at 5:58. Sequence logged, game tilted. Cameras love fiery huddles, but Clark leads with Google Maps clarity. When a groin tweak sidelined her for 10 days this spring, she spent timeouts diagramming real-time coverage tweaks, feeding rookie guards shot clock solutions. Head coach Christy Sides called her assistant coach with an on-court badge. Teammates listen because every correction is specific. Shift your foot 6 inches. The tag will miss you. Never generic hype. Asked what she missed most during injury rehab, she answered practice, not spotlight. That might sound bland, but it's how a second-year guard holds a locker room that includes NCAA champions and Olympic vets. She doesn't raise her voice, she raises the threshold. Nike noticed. In April 2024, the swoosh locked Clark to an 8-year, $28 million signature shoe deal, the richest ever for a woman baller. Within an hour of the announcement, her fever jersey became Fanatics' top-selling basketball top outside of Stephen Curry. The business term is the Caitlain Clark effect. Economists estimate she generated $82.5 million in consumer spending for Iowa alone during her senior college season. Now, in Indianapolis, Fever home crowds outdraw the NBA Pacers on a per-game basis, and the franchise's valuation has rocketed to $370 million, second highest in the WNBA. League-wide, viewership and ticket revenue soar. The All-Star Weekend in Indy sold out 60 ancillary events. Local tourism officials call it the halo effect. Whether or not Clark enjoys the savior sloganeering, the spreadsheets prove she drags the entire ecosystem into new tax brackets. Critics say the spotlight exceeds the resume. Numbers disagree. She's the first true rookie, now second-year pro, to lead the WNBA in assists, sits top 5 in usage efficiency, and owns more 30-10 games before age 24 than any guard not named to Resse. Metrics aside, veterans acknowledge the competitive frequency. One of her superpowers is taking things personal, Brother Blake told ESPN. That edge explains why she waves off screens in crunch time, why she smirks at boos, and why, when a Georgia defender in college told her you're not as good as you think, she simply asked the official, "Do you think I'm a good basketball player?" Then nailed 2 clinching free throws. Clark could monetize every mention. Instead, she often communicates in direct messages, such as the quiet congrats she sent former Iowa safety Cooper DeJean after he scored in the Super Bowl. No public tag, no camera, just one haka to another, DeJean told local radio. That's her fame philosophy, low noise, high impact. When she appears at the Super Bowl or a Nike launch, stylists beg, she shows up in sneakers and an oversized crew neck. Photographers groan, but the understated presence is the point. She's not anti-spotlight, she just isn't dependent on it. Social media spats swirl daily, snubbed from an Olympic roster, criticized for turnovers, dissected for every handshake. Clark's coping toolbox is kindergarten simple. Disney movies. Journaling before games. Walks without earbuds. Consultation with a sports psychologist when the mind race speeds up. She treats well-being like box-out technique, position first, then rebound. That's why she can shoot 2, 4, 11 in a third quarter and fire a 30-footer in the fourth without hesitation. Confidence isn't mood, it's muscle memory built during the 5 a.m. film block and solidified during 11 p.m. stretching, while Disney's The Parent Trap plays in the background. Clark's presence forces veteran rosters to elevate, and they love it, even if they deny it on camera. Wings guard Eric Ogunbowale joked, "You D-up Caitlain, you might make SportsCenter." It's incentive economics. Her magnetism raises everyone's Q-score. Attendance data after 6 weeks of the 2025 season. 400,000 fans, highest since 1999. More than half of games are sellouts. TV rights negotiations, once projected at sub-$1 billion. Now fetch $2.2 billion for 2026 to 2034 packages, in part because networks believe Clark's prime will span that deal. Players fought pay equity wearing "Pay Us What You Owe Us" tees at All-Star Weekend. The slogan resonated precisely because the audience finally exists to pressure advertisers, and that audience arrived on Clark's wave. Picture a dim Gamebridge Fieldhouse at 10 p.m. game over, crowd gone, Clark half-soaked in sweat again, hoisting form shooting reps, no tunnel cam. No opposing coach waiting to shake hands. Just the squeak and the swish. She'll self-talk a reminder. Legacy isn't built on game day, it's built when no one is watching. That's why the Nike billboard, the sellout arenas, the billion-dollar valuation chatter all orbit a nucleus of silence. She spent years nowhere, in silent gyms, in family basements, in film rooms where the only light was a laptop glow. The everywhere you see today is the byproduct. Caitlain Clark didn't burst into pop culture because of luck, algorithms, or even the logo 3s alone. She arrived because pressure was her first language, film was her second, and quiet balance was the non-negotiable daily snack. So the next time you scroll past a meme of Clark shimmying after a 35-footer, remember the broccoli beef skillet cooling on her stove, the puzzle half-finished on her coffee table, the 5 a.m. MacBook paused on weak-side stunt angles. That unseen lifestyle is why the visible version stays lethal. Question for you: is greatness forged in the viral arena or in the silent reps nobody celebrates? Drop your answer below, hit subscribe, and come back next week, because the only guarantee is that Clark will be back in the empty gym before sunrise, sharpening the edge we'll all see at tip-off.